Hey everyone, my name is Colt Steele, and my head is not that tiny. Welcome to the Web Developer Bootcamp, Udemy's most popular web development course. Recently, I completely redid the entire course with 60 plus hours of new lectures, coding exercises, and brand new projects. Everything in this course is brand new, modern, and super shiny. I am working on a new full-length promo video, but in the meantime, you're stuck with this quick little animated intro. It's not the best, but it'll work. And actually, the animators are telling me I'm running out of time, so here's the quick pitch. I've been leading in-person programming bootcamps for nearly a decade in San Francisco. I've been teaching this stuff online for, 5 years, almost 1 million students later. My students have gone on to work at companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, and Airbnb, and this brand new, completely redone version of the course covers all of the curriculum you would expect from an in-person bootcamp. So please take a look at the description for more information on the massive update, the changes, the curriculum, the projects, and without further ado, here's the original promo video for this course. I can't stand to watch it. Hi, welcome to the Web Developer Bootcamp, the only course that you need to learn web development. My name is Colt, and I'll be leading you on this adventure. Over the last few years, I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people learn how to program and change their careers at 2 different boot camps in the San Francisco Bay Area. Most recently, I was the lead instructor and curriculum director at Galvanize San Francisco's 6-month immersive program, where 94% of my students went on to receive full-time developer jobs within 6 months of graduation. I've spent years designing curriculum, working with students, and studying education. I harnessed those skills to create this class, which is the online equivalent of my 3- and 6-month in-person bootcamp programs. By the end of the course, you'll be able to create your own full-stack web applications from scratch using the latest technologies that big tech companies like Google, Apple, and Airbnb use. The course covers a lot of different technologies and tools. We start off with HTML, and then CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, jQuery, Node.js, Express, MongoDB, and a whole bunch more. And if you don't know what any of those words are, don't worry, we start from the very beginning. This course is for anyone who wants to learn web development, regardless of previous experience. It's a one-stop shop. It's the only course that you need for the complete developer education. And the best part is that I'm constantly updating it with new content. Thanks for checking us out. Be sure to watch some of the free preview videos and read the course description for more information. Hey everyone, welcome to the Web Developer Bootcamp 2.0, the only course you need to learn web development, according to my slides. Now I know that claim sounds like something out of a late-night infomercial, but this course does have a long-proven track record of helping people become developers. That is very different, however, from claiming to teach every single topic, language, framework under the sun. That is not the goal of this course. The goal is to teach you everything you need to become a developer so that you can continue to learn and pick up new languages as they go in and out of style. Okay, so I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Colt, Colt Steele. I'm a in-person bootcamp instructor. I also have an online bootcamp, and then I teach on Udemy. I have a YouTube channel where I teach people how to code, and then, believe it or not, I actually have interests outside of that, including, but not limited to, gardening, photography, playing in a band, and raising my flock of chickens. So now that you know every detail of my personal life, let's talk a bit about my professional life. And I only it up because it's relevant to this course. My entire career so far has been based around helping people become web developers, helping people learn to code. I've been an instructor, a lead instructor, a director of curriculum for multiple boot camps, including Galvanize, Rhythm School. My curriculum continues to be used around the country at multiple campuses, and I've also created courses for Udacity, not in my courses on Udemy, including the one you're looking at right now. So I bring all of this up, not just to toot my I promise, but because this course is based directly on my experience teaching students in person. With me for a second, this is going to seem a little bit braggy, but it is relevant. So here are some numbers. Of my in-person bootcamp graduates, 94% of them find jobs within 6 months, developer jobs, of course. The median salary of those graduates is $115,000. My graduates work at companies from tiny startups that they've founded all the way up to tech giants like Amazon, Google, Apple, Salesforce, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and so on. But what really matters here is that this course is based directly on my experience teaching and crafting the curriculum that I've used to help my in-person students get jobs. This is what I spend all of my time and thinking about and dreaming about, sometimes having nightmares about. Remember that, if my person students don't get jobs, I lose my job. The last thing that I'll mention in this video is that, for you, what's most important, obviously it's important to help students get jobs, but what's most important for my students is that they leave my courses being able to grow as developers and learn new technologies and libraries. Just as an example, here's a subset of some of the tools that my last crop of graduates are now working with just a little while after graduating. So I didn't teach my students Ruby, Java, C#, Angular, Vue, just to name a couple, but they are working with those technologies, they're learning them, and they're confident to take on, whatever else they're expected to learn in their new roles. So that's a real sign of success, and that's my main goal with all of my courses, online or in person, fancy $20,000 bootcamp or a relatively affordable Udemy course. The goal is to help students become real web developers that aren't just dependent on, the 4 or 5 technologies I teach in my course, but instead can add on a whole bunch of new skills as needed. And that's exactly what this course offers. Okay, so that was a lot of talking about mainly myself. I apologize. Next up, I'm going to dive deeper into the curriculum if you'd like to know exactly what this course covers and in what order. Then we'll talk about whether you can get a job with this course and some tips and advice for succeeding. And I'm going to stop talking now. Welcome to the course if you are enrolled, and if you're just browsing. All right, so let's talk about the curriculum and what this course covers. This course is quite large, both in terms of hours, but also just in terms of the number of topics we cover. But they're all pretty essential, they all fit together, and it's all structured in a very deliberate way. So here's just a rundown of key topics. The course covers a lot more than this, but these are some of the most important topics. So we start by understanding how the web works, the internet, getting our developer environment set up, and then we talk about HTML. And we start understanding the very basics, HTML5, all the latest in semantic HTML. We talk about accessibility. Then we move on to CSS and styling our web page, where we learn a lot of new modern CSS. We cover things like flexbox and layouts, CSS animations, responsive design, media queries. We talk about CSS frameworks. I introduce different frameworks, including Bootstrap, another called Bulma. Then we talk about JavaScript. And this is really a big turning point in the course, where we spend a lot more time going very deep into JavaScript. For a lot of students, it's their very first time learning a programming language. So we cover all of the basics and all of the latest in JavaScript syntax. So if you've heard the terms like ES6, ES7, or 2016, 17, 18, all of that stuff is covered in this course. So let, const, arrow functions, async, await, promises, spread, destructuring. If none of that means anything to you, just ignore it. But we do cover that in this course. We also talk about DOM manipulation and how HTML, CSS, and JavaScript connect. We talk about asynchronous JavaScript, the pitfalls of async.js, but also the benefits potentially. We cover AJAX and making requests, working with third-party APIs. Then we start talking a bit about the backend. I introduce the terminal and different Unix. We talk about Node, a lot about Node and NPM. We work with a web framework called Express, and we start building servers and full web apps. We talk about templating and building RESTful APIs, routing, databases. We talk a bit about SQL versus NoSQL databases. We focus on MongoDB. We cover common security issues, cross-site scripting, SQL Injection. We talk about deploying applications and working with cloud databases. I show you how to implement authentication from scratch. So we really dive into the concepts around cookies and sessions, hashing functions. We talk about password salting, and then we focus on some fancier features like adding geocoding and mapping, cluster maps. I should show you something on the screen right now to give an idea of what I'm talking about, image upload. So there's a lot in this course. And then topics like schema design and design patterns for JavaScript. We talk about, best practices as a developer, building a developer mindset, understanding how to get help, how to Google, how to research things and find answers to things you don't know. So it's exhausting just telling you all these topics. It's a lot. Now imagine having to record all of that. Oh, that was quite the undertaking. So maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by the volume of topics and maybe none of them make sense. Maybe you're very excited to get started. Either way, I promise, we start from the very, very beginning. You don't need to know anything coming into this, other than, how to use your computer. With all that said, yes, this course covers lots of fancy modern technologies and tools and languages, But all that really matters, like the real takeaways from this course that I focus on the most, are learning how to learn new frameworks, languages, libraries, learning how to think like an engineer, learning how to ask questions or find answers to your questions online, how to unstuck yourself, how to build applications from scratch, and just how to become fluent in the world of web development. Those are the really important pieces of the curriculum. And unfortunately, those are the pieces that you can't pick up in a matter of 5 minutes or an hour of video. They really take the entire course to sink in. So that's a brief overview of the crazy curriculum. This will be a quick video. I just want to talk about when this course was last updated and how you can find out what was changed and what the updates were. So on Udemy, sometimes it can be difficult to see, what course was changed, and specifically what was actually changed. Was it, a new section of content? Was something really overhauled? Or was it just a single link or a line of code? Or was something deleted, a single lecture? Those things can count as updates. In this course, I've gone out of my way this time around to create a change log, which you can see below this lecture. You can view the document, and it's a record of what has been added and removed or updated in the course, and it makes it clear exactly when those changes happened. So take a look at that. I'm trying to be transparent about it. I published the original version of this course with no expectation. I had no clue it was going to take off and so many students would be interested. And I also didn't anticipate how much web development would change. So in the beginning, I spent a lot of time patching the course, making tiny changes, trying to fix issues as they popped up. But then eventually I realized I just needed to just suck it up and redo the entire course from scratch. So I hunkered down for 8-9 months straight, recording, editing, creating exercises and projects, and outlining the whole thing. Took almost a couple of weeks. And that brings us to 2.0, the new version of this course. If you're seeing this video at all, it's part of the 2.0 update. It's really not an update, it's a complete overhaul. I redid everything in the course, over 500 new videos. I think it's closer to 600 now, actually. I added in 80 plus coding exercises that are interactive in the browser, plus a bunch of quizzes and challenges, projects, little bit yourself activities, and then one very large project at the end that we build together. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the entire course has been overhauled. I somehow came out on the other side still and in one piece. It was a monumental undertaking, but I'm really excited about it. I'm happy with how it turned out. Better than ever, it's incorporated everything I learned the first time around, plus everything I've learned from teaching my bootcamps in person. So please enjoy, and remember, you can check. Without a doubt, the most common question I get from brand new students or people who are considering this course is, if I take the course and finish it, will I get a job? Well, much like the beloved 2008 romantic comedy starring Ryan Reynolds, I tell those students, definitely, maybe. It really, really depends. Many students have gone on to get jobs from taking this course, but it's not at all guaranteed. Let's talk a bit about the anatomy of an actual job guaranteed bootcamp, like the bootcamps I teach in person. I have an online bootcamp that comes with a job guarantee, but remember, we're talking about to $24,000, I guess $22,000 bootcamps. Why do people pay for them? What is there that costs that much? Well, the first bit's the curriculum, and this course is based on my experience teaching in-person bootcamps. So you've got the curriculum. This covers everything you know to go on to learn and become a web developer. But that's just one facet. The other piece of a bootcamp are a little bit trickier. Things like mentorship or being part of a community, a group of peers who can lean on each other and stay up late studying and call each other panics before the quiz tomorrow. Alongside that, accountability is a huge piece. In my bootcamp, both the part-time online job guaranteed bootcamp and the full-time in-person bootcamp, what a mouthful, we assess students all the time. We have quizzes, we have planned quizzes, pop quizzes, we review their code and projects, we enforce, people have to come to class, they can't just keep skipping class and still just expect to get a job. So accountability plays a huge role in the decision to attend a bootcamp. Now, with all that doom and gloomy negativity around what a bootcamp has to offer versus this course, keep in mind that many students have taken just this course. Many students cannot afford to take a full-time bootcamp. Obviously, they're very expensive. They're impractical, difficult for people to just just quit their job for 6 months. And I hear from students every single day in my email or my LinkedIn or YouTube channel, students who have just gotten their first job or just got their first offer out of this course. So it is 100% possible. And I have some advice for how I would approach this course as a student to help you get the most out of it. The first thing, without a doubt, most important, do the exercises, do the quizzes. I can't enforce that you take the time to, fully build out the exercises when I ask you to, or to do the interactive coding exercises. I mean, I can't enforce anything. You're totally on your own, which is really, that whole accountability thing I meant with attending a boot camp. There's no accountability here. So try and add structure. Do the exercises, take it seriously. I mean, unless you're here for fun or just exploring things, you're your own person and I can't tell you what to do. But if I were in your shoes and I was trying to get a job, do every exercise. It's going to slow you down, but that's by design. The next piece of advice is don't just copy. What I mean by that is when I'm typing code and showing you solutions in this course, of which there are dozens, probably hundreds of different solutions, don't just open that up and copy the code, or don't just type exactly as I'm typing during the video. This is to be treated as a course. Just like, me watching a couple of Gordon Ramsay videos online not make me a chef. I may have learned a little bit about cooking. I certainly learned something about cursing and how to create a television empire out of a fake grumpy persona when you're actually a lovable goofball, Gordon. Anyway, that's a piece of advice there, right? Can't become a chef by watching a YouTube video. You can't be a developer by watching my videos, right? You've got to do the work. You've got to stop, ask questions. This stuff takes practice. So that's the next piece of advice. After that, take your time. Kind of reach similar ground. The content here from an in-person bootcamp, we're talking about a minimum of 10 to 12 weeks of full-time teaching, lectures, exercises, projects, 40 hours plus a week, right? So we're talking about hundreds of hours to go through the course, even though the course itself is, it's probably longer now, but 50-something hours, close to 60 hours. So that is not the amount of time this course should take you. That should be the amount of time, I guess, that you are watching videos. You may rewatch things too, but there's a lot more that goes into learning this stuff. So slow down, focus on learning things. Don't copy, as I've already mentioned, or don't exclusively copy. But also don't panic, because this is a very huge course, and you're almost certainly going to hit a rough patch somewhere. All my in-person students do. Even the ones who come in, they've done all the work, the pre-work, they feel very confident, they're for the class for the first couple of weeks. There's always something that derails pretty much everyone. So it's normal. Okay, this is a lot to learn, and if it was, incredibly easy and obvious to learn, I don't think I would have a career. That doesn't mean it's hard. It just means you may get stuck at some point. So don't panic. It's normal. And if you do get stuck, don't spin your wheels in the mud. Take a break. I'm serious about taking a break. It seems like a very obvious thing to say, but I have seen the results of students not taking breaks in person. Okay, enough advice. Really, the main thing I would say is just do the projects and exercises. Take the course seriously if you want to get a job. Treat it as you would a real course where you're getting a grade and magically being held accountable, even though I can't hold you accountable. Okay, next up, we need to talk about how to get the code for this course. The last quick topic I want to mention before we actually start on the content of the course is how you can get the resources, the downloads, everything you need for this course, and just how it's structured. So the course is broken up into a bunch of different sections, and each section is grouped around some concept or topic. In the very first video of every section includes a download link if there's any code. Some sections don't have code that you really need. Some of them are more conceptual, but if there is any code from that section, you'll find the zip file attached to the very first lecture. So download that. And then on top of that, the slides are available. If you're somebody who likes to have access to the slides, I can't you actually want this deck of slides, but I've included them in the first video of the course if you do want this deck. But for the technical stuff, if you do want to reference the slides, they're always available. First lecture, just like the code, first lecture of the section. And then there are specific resources, links to different downloads, just to websites I mention, tools that I showcase, interesting fonts and code pens. All of those links are included whenever I mention them in the course. So, if there's a video where I talk about Google fonts, attached to that, there will be a link, a resource to the Google Once website. So that's really how things are structured. In addition, that first video of every section plays a really important role. I know a lot of students don't have much patience for the non-technical content where we're not actually coding, but if you're someone who wants to take the course seriously and really try to get a job or try to get the most out of it, watch the first video of every section. I walked through the goals, but specifically I walked through what's easy, medium, and what's challenging in each section, and how much time a section should you or could take you relative to others. For example, when we get to JavaScript, I talk about how, an hour of JavaScript videos is probably a lot longer than an hour of CSS videos. The videos obviously are the same, it's an hour of each, but the amount of work on your end may be significantly more when you're learning JavaScript for the first time. So pay attention to those videos. I set your expectations as best I can in the very first video of every section. Speaking of which, it's time for the next section. Check out the first video. Here we go. I'll see you shortly. Well, I won't